if they're, at this time, I really think there are some scouts out there that have some words to say. You want to say some thanks, tell some stories?
No, you can stay seated.
I'm sure. So if anybody else wants to come up and say a few words, we'd like you to do that now.
My name is Jeff Higley, and I was in scouting for a really long time. Pretty much I was in scouting for as long as you can go until they say you have to leave. So that's about how long it took me to get my Eagle Scout, but I did accomplish it. Thanks to Steve. Steve had a good way of encouraging you to complete your merit-based awards with scouting without actually making you dislike having to do the activities. So, which is often a difficult task when we're trying to do some of those things. So, but probably the biggest thing I'd like to thank Steve for is that all the activities that I got to do that I never would have did if I wasn't involved with scouting with him. Whether it was like canoeing down the Sauk River, 10 times, and trying to figure out how to cook a frozen pizza in a Dutch oven. What else? Going to Philmont, we took the Amtrak to Philmont, which is unbelievable. All the different Manny Point, Crow Wing Scout Reservation, all the different activities like that. So it was, I told Steve this earlier, that there probably isn't a week that goes by in my life that I don't think about whether some activity that I did in scouting relates to something that I do currently in my life, whether it's my values and my beliefs, the things that I learned, or just basic activities that I did in scouting, that I think back, like my parents used to say that all the time, you're going over to Steve's again to play this Dungeons and Dragons for like 4 hours. I mean, they were serious concerned that I was going to go in a different direction, wondering what Dungeons and Dragons things was about. Like, unfortunately we don't have time, most of us don't have time to do things like that anymore, but I think back about, how Fendro got killed off and it wasn't fair of you, so that's just the way it worked out that night. So, but it was a very good experience, and I'm glad so many boys had the opportunity to spend time with Steve, and he gave up so much, because basically you think about it, if he would have spent as much time getting paid for something as he spent in scouting, he probably would be a very wealthy individual right now. So, but thank you, Steve, for everything you did. It's greatly appreciated.
I'm Pete Orth. I just want to say that I was there when the rock was thrown. And all I remember is some yelling, and then Nathan in his white and green shirt as a streak, just running as solid as he could. I think about the scouting, times that we've had, and it was just phenomenal. I mean, there's so much just good, solid activity that we did. Learning just the basics and learning how to cooperate and get along and not kill each other after 13 days in the backwoods. It's just pretty unbelievable, and Steve was always our rock, and I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank my dad too, because we had some really invaluable experiences together, and it was just always a great team you guys made. So, thanks.
Don't tell that story, Nathan.
As we were driving up today, we were reminiscing about a few of the exceptional things that have happened on our trips. And Nathan Blumel shared that on the way back from Philmont, train hitting a cow and being delayed. A couple that stand out in my mind are flying to High Knoll Trail and our packs not making it and our tents not making it. We got to spend a night in a hotel thanks to the airline. And the one that probably stands out the most to me is rock climbing in Taylor's Falls. And the storm was coming in, it was kind of bad. And in the middle of the night, the wind was so bad, it broke a pole in our tent. And I'm like, oh, what are we gonna do? So I had to go out, go to Steve's tent. It's probably, I don't know, midnight, 2 a.m. Steve, our tent broke. What am I gonna do? Is it wet in there? Yeah, I can't do anything. Long story short, there was a tornado nearby. We ended up having to pack up all the tents in the pouring rain, kids running everywhere. But we stayed safe. And as being the Scoutmaster, I think you have to be the rock for the kids when they are in a situation that's difficult. And thank you, Steve.
graduated from the troop 20 years ago, and I remember when Amart was first in the troop. I remember when Watchmagumi was founded and how we came together there. It's surprising to me that I actually made it in the troop as long as I did. I remember our first couple outings. One was up at Birch Lake, and I was with one of the Schofield brothers, and it rained so bad that we had to crawl into that old camper that it used to have the top of the camper, but it was all, somehow we crawled in there and stayed overnight. And then I think one of the first nights out at Watchmagumi, the infamous food fight, I remember getting nailed in the back with an egg somewhere, and I think it still hurts a little bit. Steve was a mentor to a lot of kids, and the things that he brought and instilled, commitment and trust, were just things that are invaluable to young boys. And I remember having a lot of trust in Steve on one outing, and there was this game we played. It was I don't remember the name of it or many of the rules, but it was with water guns, I remember, and you had to shoot other people to eliminate them, but you couldn't shoot them in front of other people. Well, and we were running around the lake, and I remember coming all the way back, and Steve was camped out with some other kids there, and somehow we got in a conversation, and we started walking away, and all of a sudden Steve shoots me, and I didn't realize Steve was playing, and so that was an eye-opener for that. But I tell you that I remember those times going to Taylor's Falls and rock climbing. That's kind of instilled adventure in my life. I still adventure camping and rock climbing and mountaineering all over America, and it's because of the things that I did in Boy Scouts when I was young. And so it's a big thank you to Steve.
Hello, my name is Alex Plankton. Hello, my name is Alex Plankton, and I was in the troop from 2004 to 2010. And I guess I'll start from the beginning. My brother made me go to the first troop meeting, dragged me, and again, option in this. And that was the first time I ever met Steve, and it was kind of intimidating. Like, he still had the mustache, he always wore the hat. That's you don't really see Steve without his hat to these special occasions, so he doesn't have it. But he was intimidating because he had a great big axe, and he was teaching tone shit. And so that was my first memory ever of Steve. And soon after that, I went to Amart at the troop meeting, and since then we've been going on many adventures. I remember going to Camp Ripley and winning second state, and Steve had to buy us pizza. And I remember going to watch Megumi and seeing the great, beautiful lake there for all these scouts, and just seeing what all of these other scouts before me had done. And Steve's just been a really huge person in my life. He's been someone I've looked up to, and how I'm trying to be like. I'm trying to use the skills he taught me in my everyday life to reach my goals. And I really can't thank him enough for everything he's done for me. He saw me through a lot of hard times in my life, and he continues to give me help if I need it. I can give him a call anytime if I'm ever in doubt of what I need to do or how to accomplish something. So even beyond scouting, Steve's not just my Scoutmaster, he's one of my best friends. And so I want to thank him for everything he's done in my life.
Say a whole lot, but I do want to thank Steve publicly for all that he's done. The one thing that always comes to mind after Philmont coming home on Amtrak is that by the way, I'm Ross Roach, just in case some of you didn't know. I didn't know some people that came up here that didn't say their name, so I better introduce myself. But we were coming home on Amtrak after 2 weeks in the mountains in our boots, and it felt good to take them off, kick them up. For a very short time, until the conductor came and said, "We've had a lot of complaints about the smell from this area of the train, so could you please put back on your boots?" Oh, here we go. So it all had its fun, but I want to just share a different element of what I took away from scouting, because a lot of activities is a lot of fun and everybody enjoys that part, but one of the best things that I took away is the time when it came towards advancement, and you'd have to sit down with Steve and he would go over the points. The scout is trustworthy, and he'd say, how do you rank yourself in that area of your life? How trustworthy are you? How loyal are you? And there's many times in my life today that I use a similar self-evaluation of myself and how am I doing in my life? And I just want to thank Steve for the many times, and it's really hard to evaluate yourself and really be honest with yourself, but if you can be honest with yourself at where you're at, you can move forward from there and be a better person. Thank you, Steve.
Well, it looks like everybody's had their fun. Steve, would you like to come up and say a few words? And
I got your notes.
I'm sure Steve has something to say.